Writing Task 1. Type 1, Line Graph. A line graph, also known as line chart, is a graphical presentation of data that changes over time. It uses line segments to connect data points and shows changes in data. The X and Y axes are used to denote the changes in the data. Within a line graph, there are points which are connected to show the changes in value. While the title of the line graph shows the general overview of the data, the X-axis presents the occurrences and categories being compared. And finally the Y-axis shows the scale, which is a set of number that presents. The scale, number and Y-axis is organized in an equal interval to present the data more visually. Line graphs are quite versatile and it is an extensively used family of graphs. Line graphs are quite common in the academic IELTS test. If you are planning to take the IELTS test, you must understand how to write a report or a summary based on a given line graph. A line graph can contain one of the multiple lines to show changes over time in comparison among different items. A single line is comparatively easier to describe, and with the increase of the line number, it can become quite complex sometimes. Here are a few tips. Useful introductory expressions. The graph shows, indicates, depicts, illustrates. From the graph it is clear. It can be seen from the graph. As can be seen from the graph. As is shown, illustrated by the graph. Example. The graph shows the percentage of children using supplements in a place over a year. Useful time expressions. Over the next. For the following. From. To, between. And. During. Warning. Percent is the word form of the symbol. We can write 10 or 10%. Percentage is the noun form, the percentage of children using supplements. Note. You can use a combination of adjective plus noun, or verb plus adverb, to avoid repeating the same phrase. Example. The line graph illustrates the amount of fast food consumed by teenagers in Australia between 1975 and 2000, a period of 25 years. Overall, the consumption of fish and chips declined over the period, whereas the amount of pizza and hamburgers that were eaten increased. In 1975, the most popular fast food with Australian teenagers was fish and chips, being eaten 100 times a year. This was far higher than pizza and hamburgers, which were consumed approximately 5 times a year. In sharp contrast to this, teenagers ate the other two fast foods at much higher levels. Pizza consumption increased gradually until it overtook the consumption of fish and chips in 1990. It then leveled off from 1995 to 2000. The biggest rise was seen in hamburgers, increasing sharply throughout the 1970s and 1980s, exceeding fish and chips consumption in 1985. It finished at the same level that fish and chips began, with consumption at 100 times a year. In short, over the period of 25 years, it ended up that hamburgers became the most eaten fast food while fish and chips was likely the least one. Thank you for your watching. See you later.
Writing Task 1. Vocabulary to show the changes. Increase. Verb form. Rise, increase, go up, uplift, rocket dead, climb, upsurge, soar. Noun form. Arise, an increase, an upward trend, a growth. Decrease. Verb form. Fall, decrease, decline, plummet, plunge, drop, reduce. Noun form. A fall, a decrease, a reduction, a downward trend, a downward tendency, a decline, a drop. Steadiness. Verb form. Unchanged, level out, remain constant, remain steady, plateau, remain the same, remain stable, remain static. Noun form. A steadiness, a plateau, a stability, a static. Gradual increase. Noun form. An upward trend, an upward tendency, a ceiling trend. Gradual decrease. Noun form. A downward trend, a downward tendency, a descending trend. Standability. Verb form. Level ed off, remain ed constant, remain ed unchanged, remain ed stable, prevail ed consistency. Plateaued, reach ed a plateau, stay ed uniform / immutable. Level ed out, stabilize, remain ed the same. Examples. 1. The overall sale of the company has increased by 20% at the end of the year. 2. The expenditure of the office remained constant for the last 6 months, but the profit rose by almost 25%. 3. There was a 15% drop in the student enrollment of the university. 4. The population of the country remained almost the same as it was 2 years ago. 5. The population of these two cities increased significantly in the last 2 decades, and it is predicted that it will remain stable in the next 5 years. Thank you for your watching. See you later. IELTS reading tips. Type 10, labeling a diagram. On the IELTS reading test you might get a question that asks you to label a diagram. This post will show you examples, look at common problems, give you tips and provide you with a strategy for answering these questions. Common problems. The main problem with these questions is students focus too much on the diagram and try to understand everything about it. Unfamiliar diagrams can cause panic and lose you time. This is not a test of your technical knowledge but a test of your reading skills. You should try to understand generally what is happening in the diagram. But the relationship between the text and the diagram is more important. Another big problem is failing to locate the paragraphs that contain the answers quickly and losing time reading the whole text. Students also lose marks in this section by writing the wrong number of words or spelling words incorrectly. Here are a few tips. 1. Check how many words you are supposed to write. It will tell you in the question. Identify the type of word, noun, verb, adjective, you need. This will help you find the correct answer. 2. The answers do not always come in the same order that the paragraphs are in. 3. Do the easiest questions first. You are more likely to get these correct. If you cannot find the answer to a difficult question, move on and come back later. 4. Try to predict the answer before you read the text. This will help you find the correct answer. Strategy. 1. Check how many words you can write. 2. Study the diagram and try to understand generally what is happening. Don't spend too much time doing this. 3. Highlight keywords or labels. 4. Identify the types of words required and try to predict the answer. 5. Scan the text and identify where the information is located. 6. Read in more detail to find the answer. 7. Check spelling. Thank you for your watching. See you later.
Writing Task 1. Vocabulary for the general trends part. Can you give an example?
In general, in common.
As is presented. Generally speaking.
Who else?
As is observed, as a general trend.
More example. As can be seen, generally speaking, overall. For example. 1. In general, the employment opportunity has increased till 1970 and has dropped down afterward. 2. As is observed, the figures for imprisonment in the 5 mentioned countries show no overall pattern of increase or decrease, rather shows the considerable fluctuation from country to country. 3. Generally speaking, USA had far more standard life than all the other 4 mentioned countries. 4. As can be seen, the highest number of passengers used the London Underground station at 8 o'clock in the morning and at 6 o'clock in the evening. 5. Generally speaking, more men were engaged in managerial positions in 1987 than that of women in New York. Thank you for your watching. See you later.